all I got for you. Oh, and I'm just playing. I feel gooder than hell, and I'm ready to hang out.
Good in hell. I'll tell you.
How you doing, Wrestling with the MMA? What's up, Jedi Warrior? It's good to see you guys. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. This is Gary Horton. This is Pro Wrestling. It's the podcast celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest sport of all time, professional wrestling. And today, we're going to talk about everything that's already happened, all your favorite news and rumors. We're going to talk about what's coming up tonight. But first, I have to introduce to you the people who run this show. It's the doctor. Hey, it's Will. Hey, it's Will.
Oh, swerve. Well, yes, I am finishing up my doctorate, but not quite there yet. So for now, you can just call me Mr. Hey, it's Will. But I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you, Will. And also a part of this show that I think the whole thing falls apart without him, really, is the real doctor, the PhD of... I don't have anything. So I don't know. Everything I thought of saying was just going to go down a rabbit hole we don't need to go down. So anyway, if you have questions about the Capitol, ask them after the show to Dr. Rob Stinson. Welcome, Dr. Rob.
And my Twitter followers are already down to like I'm hemorrhaging Twitter followers. But I'm wondering, I'm like,
they still let you on there?
All my buddies that have been following me have probably been banned. So
I was about to say, is it because people are sick of you, or because all the people that follow you are banned from Twitter now? Oh,
I need some of my left-leaning friends. I need some of my left-leaning friends to come and show some love towards the doc and
show that we follow Dr. Stinson. His handle's right down there. This is Dr. Stinson. He needs new friends.
Listen, he doesn't post political stuff. Despite his opinions, he doesn't get political on Twitter. He shares good wrestling content, good historic wrestling content. So if you're watching this show and you're not following Rob, shame.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that plug, man.
Unless you poke and prod him. I also like to issue, just right up here at the top of the show, I don't know if Front Row's in the room, but I want to issue a public apology to him for having to moderate the chat today. I stirred up trouble, and just, I don't know who saw that, but in the Discord, if you're not already a part of our Discord, well, by God, you should join. There's a little logo for it right there, but the link's at the pinned tweet at the top of the chat. Usually it's pretty nice. But today I got on, I needed to start some AEW talk, and I came in and said, that Anna Jay and Ty Conte, they are hot. They are super hot. And then that got other people talking.
Snowballed.
Then, yeah, there was this one young man. I didn't know he was a young man at the time. And they were like, are you guys all over 50? Why are you talking about Anna Jay and Ty Conte? And we're like, no, it's fine. And then he's like, I'm 13. And we're like, oh, well, hello, 13-year-old. Then you're not ready for Anna Jay or Ty Conte. And he's like, no, I know. I'm just 13 and I like asses. All right. And Front Row had to set him straight. It was like, this is a PG chat. This is civilized wrestling discourse. Anyway, I thought it was funny though.
So what does that have to do? What does that have to do with the Front Row not moderating? Is that just?
No, I was apologizing to Front Row that he had to step in and moderate.
I got
Gary started it. Front Row ended it.
Front Row had to lay down the law.
Gary showed up like your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving, spewing all kind of garbage, and then Front Row had to jump in and be the voice of reason.
Yeah. Nobody can tell me how to use my camera. I don't know, man. It's a Logitech HD. It's 1080p.
It looks great when you get up close like that. Like I can see your pores.
Wow.
Get you?
Yeah, we need to exfoliate, bro.
Yeah.
Next bearded trio trip, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
We'll go get some facials and get our nails done.
Anyway, we're glad you're all here. We don't want to lose all of our followers talking about things like Anna Jay being very pretty. But we are going to talk about real news and real stuff today, and also what's coming up on AEW Dynamite, MLW, NXT. We'd just like to remind you, if you're new here, go ahead and make sure you hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you do that. And go ahead and hit the like button as well. You can also, just to get the adult stuff out of the way, manscaped.com, promo code NWA pod gets you 20% off and free shipping. So there's also that. And visit the merch shop, nwafam.com/shop. Really, it sounds like I'm good at plugging, but I'm just pausing because I didn't actually pull up my notes here at my computer. So I don't know what we're doing. I had all kinds of like news notes, and
listen, I'm just glad you had notes. That's a step. It's about progress, not perfection. That's what I always say. And so the fact that you have notes, it's a step in the right direction, and we're all very, very proud of you.
Proud of you, much. Proud of you.
I'll start off with one thing that Rob sent right before we went on the air. New Japan Strong. Chris Dickens showed up. Filthy Tom was there. Clark Connors, Rocky Romero, Danny Limelight, Brody King. All these people were on New Japan Strong. So I have to ask, how does one watch New Japan Strong? I know I'm supposed to be a professional wrestling streamer here, but I honestly have no idea how you even watch that show. So if anybody knows, please.
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure I've watched it before, so I assume it's accessible. I mean, I assume it's on New Japan World, right? Their streaming service. I don't know why they wouldn't put it on there, but I don't know if there's anywhere else to watch it. I'm going to look it up though.
Yeah,
and I wanted to share that because this indicates to me that Chris, the Dirty Daddy's healthy. And we know that Mike Bennett's healthy, and we've got some unfinished business with those two.
That's an excellent point, Rob. And so that UWN open weight championship needs an owner. So it's going to be either Chris Dickinson or Mike Bennett.
Yeah, it looks like
stronger about who that is, since Mike Bennett seems to be heavy into Ring of Honor. But
looks like it airs on NJPW World Friday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, and then if you have a subscription to Fight TV, you can watch it on there. So, sorry, trigger alert, Gary. I hate to bring that up, but it's through their streaming service or Fight streaming.
I'll tell you something though. The difference is that I just watched Wrestle Kingdom. I bought in, and I hear lots of great things about the wrestling on Wrestle Kingdom, and I watched it, and it was amazing. And so I'd be more apt to purchase their thing. The last time I saw Impact was just the Omega show, and then you can't go back on Twitch and watch it later. And you can't, I can't see it live. So it's like, where do you go? I'll tell you what I did find is that they do throw up a lot of clips on that YouTube channel. They give you like little brief snippets here and there. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I saw Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns in a backstage brawl with the Elite. So I know that's kind of how that wrapped up. So anyway, I feel a little bit better about it, but I just, I don't know how much Impact Plus is, but you got to sell me on it, right? And maybe they will, guys. Maybe they will sell me on it, because we're going to be covering Hard to Kill this weekend on Saturday. Maybe Rob will be there. Maybe Rob won't. He probably hasn't even told his wife yet.
It's my best guess. You got to tune in to find out. It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, he looked iffy, so that's not a strong indication. But Rob typically
Rob doesn't have a good poker face, so you can usually read him.
He may not be here. I'm like,
oh, here we go. So Impact Plus is $7.99 monthly.
I love our chat. This is why we have the best wrestling community, because you guys know these things and you can help us out when we don't know. And so thank you so much for that information. And see all the people talking about New Japan World. Jedi Warrior hoping to see Davey Boy Smith Jr. as UWN champion.
While we're getting a lot of information from the chat, is anyone a current subscriber of NJPW World? And if so, how frequent is their content on there? That's my question. So are they doing like Are there live weekly shows? Is it all replays on demand? Like, how does that work? I want some more info because I'm right on the brink of signing up for that after Wrestle Kingdom. So let me know. What are the perks?
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to know that. Appreciate any input. If you're watching and you're not part of the chat, you can be a part of this. These people are full of knowledge and they're very welcoming. They want to be friends with you, right, chat? You're going to be friends with anybody that comes into the chat room. See? So it's going to be all right.
They have better poker faces than Rob.
That's true.
They want to be your friend, right? They're all like.
Another thing to get out of the way is somebody did bring it up in the chat. That was Rock Says 79. He said, I wonder if Dickinson is going to be at the GCW's 24-hour show, Fight Forever, an indie fundraiser show on YouTube on January 29th at 8 p.m. to January 30th to 8 p.m. That is a great way to segue into a piece of news that we had. Yes, yeah. GCW. According to their press release, they're going to be partnering with individual talent to book a curated block of programming or multiple blocks of programming over the course of a telethon. Matches and participating wrestlers will be announced over the next few weeks. Independent wrestling is built on the passion and dedication of its talented performers. Their sacrifice fuels our industry. These athletes need support with no immediate end in sight to these current circumstances. Fight Forever is a historic opportunity for the wrestling community to come together and have their back when they need it the most. 100% of the donations during the telethon will be given to the performers. Seed funding for the event has been donated by Orange Crush, the Journal of Art and Wrestling. So it's a very artsy magazine. I don't know if you guys have seen Orange Crush, but it's very fancy looking. You can go to it, orangecrush.art.
I haven't cleared this with the other two guys, but we're going to do a live watch along, 24 hours. I'm just kidding.
I was literally going to come on and say that same thing, and I was like, I wonder if they go for it. Let's see.
I'm just trying to get that watch time up, so we're going to be 24 hours straight.
Oh my God! Did they say where it is? Is it on? I missed where it was. Sorry, I meant to say where the actual event is going to be. It is streaming live and free, and it doesn't say where.
It's on YouTube.
So I'm going to guess
YouTube Game Changer Wrestling, and
must be YouTube. All right. Well, that is that. Guys, since we talked about Hard to Kill, we might mention this more than just once, but since we're talking about it, they officially announced a new match today added to the card. You get to see Rob's favorites, the influencers, Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K, taking on Rosemary and Crazy Steve. That's going to be all happening.
What a great match to add.
There you
I'm
go.
excited about that.
That sounds like a fun one. And this is all on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on pay-per-view. You can get it on Fight TV if you haven't ordered it already. We're going to do a live watch-along and a recap show. Other matches include Old School Rules match. Eric Young, Dieter, and Joe Doring take on Rhino, Tommy Dreamer, and Cousin Jake. I saw Joe Doring, I think, today on one of the clips, and that guy is super big. Like, he is a very tall man. Let's see here. Also up, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz take on Havoc and Nevaeh for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. This is the finals of that tournament that's been going on. They're going to be taking on each other, and that seems like a lot of fun. We're pulling for some Tasha Steelz, I think, unanimously over here. NWA alum. You're also going to get to see Eddie Edwards take on Sami Callihan in a barbed wire massacre. And these two folks is crazy. They go tear each other up with barbed wire. So you want to be a part of that too. And Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie. That's going to be going down Saturday, January the 16th. And for the X Division Championship, you got Chris Bay, Manic, and Rohit Raju in a triple threat match. And that seems like it'll be a lot of fun. I bet a lot of high flying in that one. And finally, of course, the main event. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, the Elite, take on Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. That's all Saturday, January 16th, live on pay-per-view, Fight TV. You can watch it right along with us and come hang out at our recap party afterwards. Doesn't that sound like a good time? If you're not up your wife's butt.
What? You got my attention again. What were you talking about?
Were you talking about my wife's butt?
Yeah, your wife's butt.
There you go again, Gary.
Dude, you post pictures on Instagram talking about your wife's butt. I don't want to hear it.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying. I was just making sure it was the butt.
He's just getting clarity.
Referring to.
He's getting clarity. He's just getting clarity. Just asking
clarity.
clarifying questions. He's a doctor.
Clarity and closure, man. That's all. Just trying to get closure on it.
The 2 C's.
Part of being a doctor involves butt stuff.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, you're right. Try to be going through a dissertation defense is very much like that. It's a bunch of butt stuff.
Well,
I apologize for anybody actually
viewers.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's just like, what is even happening here today? Yeah. We got to get this conversation going, fellas.
Well, I'm excited about Hard to Kill. It's going to be a good time. I'm particularly excited, obviously, about the main event, but that Deonna Purrazzo match is going to be good. Mixed tag match they just added. It's going to be great. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, we talked about it. This is another chance for Impact to push me over the fence a little bit when it comes to, watching them more regularly. So I'm looking forward to it. So you guys come and hang out with us. It may just be me and Gary. Might be all three of us. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll have a good time watching it together and talking about all the action. And it'll be fun. Fun way to spend a Saturday night.
I haven't gotten the fast count up for Raw. Figured out a way to do this, but if you guys missed it, Drew McIntyre is currently out with COVID. He came down with it, and so he was unable to be at Raw. He did send a message. He said, fortunately, he is not feeling symptoms of it. According to the Observer, he wouldn't say who, or maybe he doesn't know who. I don't know. But Dave Meltzer was saying that actually at least four people are out due to COVID right now on WWE Raw. And kind of makes you wince when you think about Drew and Goldberg being in each other's faces the other day. But he said that out for COVID can mean either they have COVID or they've been in contact with someone who had COVID. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have COVID. And WWE's or any wrestling company right now is not required to tell you who has it or who doesn't or anything. They get to choose. As we're finding out right now, considering, was it Nick Jackson just came out and said he had it a couple of months ago or a month ago, and Jericho just came out and announced he had it back in, he thinks, September. And so they were supposedly off TV during this time. That's the way, that's what we're assuming. But anyway, COVID being wrecking things again right now, but Drew will hopefully be back. He's quarantining for at least 10 days, but he should be back for the Rumble. So maybe he gets another Raw in before that happens. But if you missed Raw, then you missed. They had to cover for it. So you got guys like Sheamus and Keith Lee working overtime. They pulled double duty during the show. And Triple H had to throw on his gear and come in and take the main event against Randy Orton that Drew McIntyre was going to take. And they built it up pretty well, but then it lasted like 3 minutes. And Triple H's sledgehammer caught on fire, and then Alexa Bliss appeared in the ring and threw a fireball in Randy Orton's face.
God, if I had a dime for every time it happened to me. every time I'm out there using my sledgehammer, freaking just lights on fire, and Alexa Bliss, like, leave me alone, I'm trying to sledgehammer.
Yeah, and that's how that show ended. Riddle also got his butt handed to him by Bobby Lashley, which, I'm happy that Bobby Lashley's a bad dude, but I don't know. Riddle may not be long for WWE because he sure ain't doing nothing over there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so I had another piece of news. I didn't throw this in our messages to look at. But I was looking around today, and so there's some rumors going around. I don't know, Gary, if you've heard anything about this from Meltzer and crew, but that supposedly Ricochet's contract is coming up. He signed a 3-year deal in late January 2018, and has been horribly misused over the past year. So there's a lot of chatter out there about him, possibly not having re-sign and seeing, if he might end up going somewhere else. But I would personally welcome that, just because they've made a joke out of him since he got squashed by Brock Lesnar. So, I don't know, Gary, if you've heard anything more about that.
I really have not heard anything more about Ricochet. I think I'd heard a while back that, he's definitely considering something else, which he should be. So should Chad Gable, for that matter. Like, those two guys are like two of the best to me. I mean, at least like Chad Gable technically is like got to be one of the best wrestlers there is right now. And Ricochet is just exciting to watch. So I feel like either one of them could find a home somewhere else. And that's the beauty part about the way it is right now set up for wrestling, that there's plenty of homes to go to. So I'm sure both of them, it's the thing of if they want to get WWE money or not. And it's like, that's the thing with WWE right now, is what they do, or what they had been doing. We'll see if they keep doing it, is they were just buying up people just to buy them up, just so that they couldn't be put to use. And so whether or not they had any actual plans to do anything with them, which is unfortunate that that's how it is, but that's business, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, we talk a lot about WWE, not really pushing tag teams, and they also don't really push guys like Ricochet. I mean, you can look at the landscape over the past few years, and there's a couple of exceptions, but a guy with the talent of Ricochet, I think they've tried to script promos for him, and he's just not a scripted promo guy. And he's so good in the ring, though, that it's like you don't need him to be a mic guy. He could do minimal stuff on the mic, and I mean, that's how it works in wrestling. I mean, obviously you want the guy that's the whole shebang, like a Ric Flair, right? Who's like money on the mic, he's money in the ring. I mean, you want, like, obviously your ideal guy is like that. But when you got a guy like Ricochet who's just out of this world in the ring, you got to have a little bit of grace when it comes to his mic skills. So you got to write him into storylines where he's not going to be giving 3-minute scripted promos, or that's his storylines don't rely on that. So I just feel like they've kind of boxed him in a little bit and had him dig his own grave when it comes to that stuff. And I think he'd be better served somewhere else. I mean, the obvious, number one place after WWE people talk about is AEW. However, I would love to see him back in Japan, doing some stuff. I mean, I don't know. I think the landscape's changing, and I think he'd be better served really anywhere else. So
I think you're right, Will. And actually, I was joking about Riddle before, but that was another thing I heard, is that his contract's not much longer, and he had been offered a long contract, but no one has reported back that he's actually signed it. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. You mentioned one in there, though, that I have to bring up too, because you guys probably don't know this. I know neither of you really are interested in Raw, but it was interesting to me. Ric Flair was back this week, and he was on the Legends show initially, and he escorted Charlotte out to the ring as she and Asuka competed against like Peyton and Lacey Evans. And while they were wrestling, Charlotte ran to the ropes, and Ric Flair, she threw Peyton into the ropes and then ran behind her to hit the ropes. And Ric Flair reached up and grabbed a foot, and it tripped Charlotte, actually. And Charlotte got pinned, and so that she was pissed, and she got Ric's face, and then she was like, "Stay out of my business." And so Ric looked sad, and he walked to the back. Well, this week, Lacey was taking on Charlotte, and they came out to the ring, and Charlotte, she got interviewed beforehand. She was like, "My dad knows I'm competitive. He knows how it is, but he's home today," and yada, 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 and it's fine. And she goes back in the ring. and her and Lacey are fighting. It's not a great match. I don't want to be too critical, but they're fighting. Ric Flair comes down, styling and profiling, and legitimately, like, Charlotte tries to suplex Lacey, I believe, and Rick grabs her foot and pulls it, and Lacey falls on top of her, and Rick holds her foot down while the ref counts the 1, 2, 3. And so he definitely, on purpose, screwed Charlotte out of a match and left with Lacey Ryan, on his arm, and they were dancing in the
probably
Lacey Evans. Yeah. Lacey Ryan's a different person. Sorry, Lacey Evans, and they left dancing out the back, and they were together. And so, the reports are Ric Flair's a regular again on WWE TV, and I think this sounds terrible. Like, I don't what we'll let it play out, I guess, because we have to. But my two things are: does anybody want to see Ric Flair be a bad guy anymore? Does anybody want to boo Ric Flair? And do you really want to play this game with him? Like, anybody's gonna just think that he's gonna screw over Charlotte, that he doesn't love his daughter, and we're just gonna play that game this late in the game, I guess.
No, and let's not forget, there's a global pandemic going on that
and that part
it is exponentially more dangerous to people who are older. It's just a bad idea all around. I love Ric Flair. I mean, top 3, top 2 probably for me all time. I don't know, like his legacy is cemented. A guy like that. I mean, he's not a guy who is like a mid-card legend who needs to make a few appearances every year to remind you how great he is. He's in a league by himself. And I know they want to draw the connection with Charlotte, but I believe the connection's already there. We all get it. It's his daughter. It's in her name. She's Charlotte Flair. I mean, I just don't see how this is gonna. I'm like you, Gary. I don't see how this is gonna play out. Like, you're gonna make me as a wrestling fan boo an older Ric Flair. I'm never gonna do it. Like, it's not gonna get anyone. If they're trying to get Charlotte over by making Ric Flair come back as her older father and be a heel, that is absolutely not gonna work. Especially with fans like us who have a historical context. We're never going to buy into that. So I don't know where they're trying to go with it, but
yeah, Rob, I mean, Ric Flair's 72 years old, I think, right now, right? And you've seen him his whole career, like, most of it at least.
he's only a couple years older than Rob. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say his whole career. I didn't mean like Rob was there the day he was born. But
Rob was 4 when he was born.
You both make several good points. I mean, I'm not necessarily against, let's say, the estranged family story playing out. That's a common thing. It's a traditional thing. That's something that people can relate to. Parents and children, or brothers and sisters being estranged. We've seen that with Dusty Rhodes, who had very public fallings out with Dustin and Cody, and then Flair with David Flair. I don't know that really became an issue with Reed so much. I think, Reed had his own issues. And so it's not that the idea that there's an estrangement in the family that's the rub there, because that's fine. I mean, that's you can do that. I think for me, it's like both Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair are already main eventers. They've main evented. Everybody, I don't know everybody, but a lot of people look at Charlotte and consider her to be the greatest female wrestler going on. That's up for debate, but a lot of people think that. And Lacey Evans, of course, I think is very respected too. You don't really need Flair to do this to put over Lacey Evans or Charlotte Flair. Obviously, like you guys said, nobody's going to be booing Flair. Nobody has any interest. He's not, the heart of the 4 horsemen anymore. He's not the dirtiest player in the game anymore. He also has this public reputation of being a womanizer, although he's happily married to Wendy Barlow. And I don't think that the optics are good for a storyline for him to be, pursuing a crush with Lacey Evans. It's just not believable.
And let's also not forget that they've spotlighted Lacey Evans' husband and daughter on pay-per-views and Raw before. So, like, now we've got that kind of shake up in our brains when we're talking about continuity.
And maybe
These
this
people
could
are
be
family people now. And so
right.
it's just a
It
weird-
could be that, and we don't know. I want to give WWE some of the benefit of the doubt here. We don't know how this is going to play out. It may be that Flair is setting Lacey up for the swerve, like, blood is thicker than water. And I'm not to say that may we don't know, but right now the optics aren't very good. It's not a compelling, it's not even a believable story, because I know, an attractive woman, not to go down that rabbit hole like you guys did on Discord today or anything like that, but an attractive woman is a powerful influence on is a powerful influence on a man, and it's been that way since the foundations of the world, but I don't find it plausible that Flair is going to betray his daughter, who he loves more than anything, to pursue a crush when he's a happily married man. And it's just there's nothing about this seems well thought out, unless they're setting Lacey Evans up for the swerve, which could be, but who knows? I think
it needs to, if that's going to happen, it needs to happen in like the next week. They need to do a quick payoff of that, because I think a lot of people are a little bit riled up speculating about where this could go. I mean, you've got, and I agree with you. A common tale in wrestling is, family issues and male female issues, because it's relatable. I mean, it's a common theme in every movie too. So I don't think that's a problem. I think it's a little bit in poor taste when you got a 40-year age gap between the two people involved and documented, happy family lives for both of them. That just seems a little out there for me. But yeah, I mean, I hope it is a swerve and they just pay it off really quick, and we can go back to, the normal, seeing Ric Flair once in a blue moon and letting him just relax and enjoy the time he's got left, because he deserves it.
I feel like that's when Ric Flair pays off right now. Is like the spurts, so like to make it, a really special moment to see Ric Flair. Same, I mean, you can even say that for like a Hogan or somebody. It's just like if they're on every week, it doesn't help anything. I don't feel like, and especially like you said, Will, like right now. You're not only are you putting a man who's 70-something years old in a weird spot booking-wise, you're putting him in a weird spot potentially health-wise. And it's just, I don't know.
Tons of things we want to see out of Ric Flair right now are just what happened like 2 weeks ago when Ric Flair appeared with Kevin Hart on his little show, his little vignette show called Cold as Balls. I don't know if you've ever seen that. They basically get in a tub of ice. Kevin's always struggling. I don't think he's ever actually been in the tub, but they come out and they sit in a tub of ice.
Did you say Kevin Hart doesn't bathe?
No, in the tub of ice. Oh. The whole premise is he gets like some athlete like Gronk or Lennox Lewis or somebody like that, and they get in a tub of ice like an athlete would when he's trying to do some therapy on his sore muscles and all that, and they talk man stuff, sports and all that. And Kevin's always coming across as sort of hapless and maybe not quite as manly and tough, and the other athletes are unfazed by the ice. And it's really funny, but Ric Flair just appeared on that. It was like 2 weeks ago. You can YouTube it. Ric Flair, Kevin Hart, Cold as Balls. And it's hilarious. That's what I want to see. I want to see Flair, what's the ambassador of the sport, the statesman. Now, like Rock said, basking in his glory, or I think that was Rock. No, it was a Philly sports fan that said, basking in his glory, enjoying these years, being the elder statesman, imparting wisdom, showing up to cut some promos and all that. But, this storyline just doesn't seem to be a good fit, especially I think it detracts from somebody like a Lacey Evans, who doesn't need this at all. Lacey Evans is already Dynamite.
That was going to be
sports fan also pointing out that Kevin Hart's a valued long lost member of the Hart Foundation.
Mm. Well, that's what I was going to say too. Is like Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans. They don't need this. Like they're both the caliber. They're both main event caliber like wrestlers. So I would be bought into a feud between the two of them, even if Ric Flair was just, arm candy for Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like just accompanying her. He doesn't even need to get involved. If they want to have him there for some kind of clout, which again, Charlotte doesn't really need at this point in her career. But if they just want him on TV and they're looking over at TNT and they see Sting and Arn Anderson and they're like, well, we got to keep up with this. So they want to put Ric Flair on TV. Then I think those ladies can carry the feud on their own. So that's where it comes down to for me.
Getting brought up, I guess we'll jump to let's go something lighter for a second, and then we'll get into some other darker stuff. No, we don't really have anything that dark, but we do have more information coming up about AEW Dynamite, NXT, all of those things, MLW here in just a minute. So stick with us and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching this thing and you're new. We'd love to have you as part of our wrestling community. AEW is going to have their first ever Dynamite Awards ceremony.
Ooh.
January the 27th. It's going to be streaming on the Bleacher Report app. 7 p.m. Eastern broadcast will feature 11 awards in a variety of different categories voted on by fans starting on Wednesday. The show was today, by the way. The show will also be available on AEW's social media platforms and TNT's YouTube channel after the live event concludes. A press release listed Shaquille O'Neal, comedian Brett Kreischer, former UFC star Chael Sonnen. I don't know why I can't talk. Former MLB player Curtis Granderson, Camille Kostek, Kevin Hefferman, Steve Lemmy, Ron Funches, Danielle Fischel-Karp, and Jensen Karp, among those who will be presenting the awards virtually. Now, I know what you're asking yourself. You're all curious. What are these awards? What are the categories? And since I don't feel as sickened by this as the Slammies, I'll tell you. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on each of these. So first up, you have Best Moment on the Mic in AEW. And that the nominees are MJF from the We Deserve Better speech. Cody Rhodes accepts the dog collar match. Jon Moxley accepts the Inner Circle invitation. Brandy Rhodes confronts Jade Cargill. And Orange Cassidy debates Chris Jericho. I'm going Jon Moxley Inner Circle. That was probably it for me out of that list. That was a cool moment, and that was one of the first moments in AEW and first moments in a long time that I was like, I mean, my heart was like racing during, and like they had me bought in leading up to it, and I just remember watching that and going through the roller coaster of like, he's really gonna do this, like what the hell, and so for me that would be my vote. I do have to point out real quick before Rob, you jump in there, Ryan Romano, the truly the wisest of us all, pointing out, where the hell is Eddie Kingston in this category? Come on. And you don't hear Ryan curse very often, but right then, that fed him up. Where is Eddie Kingston?
You got to catch Ryan at the bar in Buda. And then the man is like a sailor, boy. He speaks. You got me like by the way, Ryan, I don't know if you saw, but they had snow in Austin last week, and it's been warm last couple times we've been there. I'm not so sure. I told Brian Rossi he needs to make sure he has a space heater out there in our shed on February the 6th, because it could be it may be 90 degrees that day, but there may be an ice storm in town. But I will agree with Will that the Mox bit was the best. I don't think that's what's going to get the award, though. I think they're probably going to give the award to Jericho and Orange Cassidy just because that seemed to get the most chatter out there. It seemed to, so I think my heart is with Will. It is with Will, but it's with Will's pick. My heart is with Will, but it's with the Mox pick. And again, Ryan Romano, you're right. Eddie Kingston is below. He needs to be in that list and is not. He got snubbed. But I believe if I were a betting man, which I am, I would bet that that it's going to go to Jericho and Orange Cassidy. That's my guess.
I don't think that's a terrible guess.
I got a couple of Washingtons that say you're wrong.
George Washington and his twin brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I could see Cody Rhodes accepting the dog collar match being a part of it. I think that was a big one. I don't want to be just different from you guys, but now let me establish that I think Jon Moxley also is, aside from like an Eddie Kingston, probably the best promo in the company right now. Like I think Jon Moxley delivers with heart. Like MJF is, he's fun.
You got to throw Britt Baker. You got to throw Britt Baker in that equation too.
Yeah, they're fun and they're jerks. But I feel like Moxley is really good at the art of the promo. Like,
well, and there's different types too. I mean, Britt Baker, if you're going to have categories, I mean, comedy, she would be top of the line for that. I mean, Jericho teeters that line as well. But I mean, you talk about MJF, that's a classic heel, just despising him. It's a classic formula that he executes flawlessly. But Jon Moxley, the reason that I agree that he's probably the top promo in the company is because he's kind of in a separate category. And I mean, as a fan of prize fight wrestling, I feel like he's the most aligned with like a prize fight promo. I mean, I remember the promo. I think it was from Dynamite right before. Was it his match with Brody? Or was it his match with Kingston? One of those, but he cut a promo, just a backstage promo, and it was just your standard, like, I'm gonna kick your ass promo, but the way he delivered it was just so believable. It was just so different from the formula that we're used to, and that's what I really appreciate about Mox.
What I love about it is, sorry, you go ahead, Rob.
I was just gonna say, for sure, definitely, you're 100% correct. I mean, we saw the prize fight aspect when he did Bloodsport, and then an impromptu promo with the Dirty Daddy in the ring that was phenomenal, unscripted. Yep. Just went out there, spoke his heart. I mean, and it was fire.
He's really good at who he reminds me of, and I know nobody's going to love this because he's not known as like the best promo, but one of my favorites growing up obviously was Bret the Hitman Hart. But he had this very like straightforward way to deliver a promo about what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, and he's the excellence of execution. He just says what he thinks. And like Mox, every time I see him, like even in those planned promos, or like, he's got a second to think about it, he's in there telling you, like, I mean, he's like pretty straightforward, at least for several matches, about like, you're going to try this with me and it's not going to work and I'm going to wind you. And then eventually I'm going to get a hold of your neck and I'm going to choke you out. And like, he just like says all this stuff. I think it was like the one before Eddie Kingston. It's like literally how the match went is the way he described it in his promo. Like he was like telling him, this is what I'm going to do to you. And it's really cool. And he's got like a very sure face when he says like, I'm going to beat you in this match. And it's like, I don't know. I love that style of just a fighter, just like.
That's a good analogy, drawing the comparison with Bret Hart, because you think about it. Yeah, Bret Hart had the catchphrase, but you never remember like this. They're not known as great orders like say a Pope is, or where we can quote Eddie Kingston, and these are some of the lines that are going to stand the test of time. What they brought though was like intensity and believability. Like when they brought instant credibility. Not necessarily, I mean, definitely with the words they said, but more the manner in which they said it. The straightforward, no color, I mean, it's just, this is how it is. And I think that's I hadn't really thought of that before, but I think you're spot on.
Wow, I feel really special that Rob agreed with me.
God, he's very agreeable tonight. I don't know. I feel like we need to get advantage.
All right, the next up is the biggest. Well, you know what? Actually, let me do this real quick because we're heading into this. And before we get to the rest of these categories, we'll come back to the AEW categories. But I just want to say this real quick for all of you that might be leaving us for MLW. If you are, we are huge fans of MLW as well. We just cover Kings of Coliseum. Tonight's episode comes on at 7 p.m. Of course, on the MLW YouTube channel. We are fully supportive. We understand. We hope you stick with us and watch it later. But, if you like MLW, you like MLW. And tonight's episode is hosted by Selena De La Renta's. Selena De La Renta, and she is booking the whole thing. and they're going to have all of this awesome stuff you see right here on the screen. A special surprise for Conan, whatever that means. Low Key is going to be in action. The debut of Mil Muertes. He looks like a beast. So
hey, it's Mil.
It's Mil.
Muertes, that is one of the mainstays of Lucha Underground. That's a big dude right there.
Awesome. Yep. And we get a tag team title match as the Von Erichs are defending against Los Parks, the old La Parca family there. And it's a Tornado Tag Team Championship match. It is going to be a special referee. Filthy Tom Lawler is going to be ref in that match, probably in short shorts. So it's going to be an exciting night. And Selena De La Renta, she's crossed paths with Contra Unit a few times, so I wouldn't doubt seeing them jump in and out somewhere in there. So should be a pretty fun episode of MLW. They've been doing a good job here lately, so I wanted to make sure we mentioned that heading into the 7 o'clock hour if you guys were going to jump over there. All right. So the next category up for AEW's award show is the biggest surprise. Biggest surprise. Ooh. And is it Matt Hardy's debut? No. Is it Jake Roberts confronts Cody?
No.
Is it Brody Lee arrives as the Exalted One? Is it Sting's AEW debut?
That one.
Is it Hero revealed as the best man? I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of, I'll be the guy who says it. A lot of people are going to feel like, well, it's Brody Lee, right? Like Brody Lee. But which one really got you? Which was the biggest surprise? That had to be Sting.
Those were both credible surprises. I obviously, given the current landscape and events recently, I would not bat an eyelash if it was Brody Lee. That was a legit surprise. That is not a that's not a tribute type nomination for that. I mean, that was a legit surprise. I remember watching that live and losing my mind because I was like, dude. But yeah, Sting's got to take the cake on that because nobody saw that coming. I at least didn't see any leaked plans or anything that came out to prime me for it. I know we'd been talking for a little bit about Sting possibly appearing, but I assumed it would be when there were, full crowds back and stuff like that. So that was huge. I would vote for that one.
The obvious snub here, of course, would be Don Callis and the Impact swerve. That's
good one.
Surprisingly not made the list. I would think.
Was it 2020 though? Was that in 20? That was 2020. Yeah.
Crazy. I didn't even think about that.
We've only been 13 days into 2021. So.
It feels like 8 months.
I know. You're right. Tell me about it. But I think probably I would say Sting would be an obvious choice. Although again, like you guys said, there's going to be some sympathy there and some enthusiasm for anything with Brody Lee on it, and deservedly so. I mean, it's not just a sympathy thing, but that was a big surprise. But for me, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Sting, hands down, was the biggest surprise of the year, probably in all of wrestling.
For me as well. I mean, Rock says 79 in the chat's putting this out. I mean, I thought this too. Sting was rumored for a Mania match, and all of a sudden he was on Impact, on AEW. Huge surprise. But I had no idea. Like, I just was like, holy crap, Sting's on AEW. I just, that one blew me away. With Brody and Matt, I was kind of like, they're out of WWE. They're going to show up somewhere. I was expecting them. Sting was just out of nowhere. Like, I didn't, like, well, you said rumored, but I honestly had not even heard. So, like, I was just completely taken back by Sting showing up. Let's see here. All right. This is going to be a fun debate. These next two. Breakout star. Who's the best breakout star in AEW? Was it Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, or John Silver?
And no Ricky Starks in that list, which is interesting.
right.
Yeah.
No Ricky Starks in that. I can.
Which he would be read the four again that are the finalists. You
Orange
said,
Cassidy.
okay.
So Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, John Silver.
Gosh, man, I'll go first. For me, my pick would be Eddie Kingston. But Eddie Kingston's not a breakout star. He's already, highly respected. Darby Allin probably fits more of the criteria of a true breakout star because he was more of an indie phenomenon. And no doubt this Joker's over like Rover right now. So he's probably going to win it. But my pick, if Eddie Kingston meets the criteria for that category, it'd be Eddie Kingston for me.
Rob, I'm just going to go ahead and jump on with you on Eddie Kingston because to me, everybody knows his name right now. Like it's just everybody's all in on Eddie Kingston and his mic skills, stuff we already knew, but he was showing up. Not sure he was showing up ever again. He was showing up as a one-time, one-off match with Cody Rhodes, got himself a job and became a mainstay on the show, like a featured player every week after. So to me, that's a hell of a breakout star. But you go ahead.
Not so fast, guys. Not so fast. I also think Eddie Kingston. I just wanted you guys to slow down. That's what do you think I was going to disagree? No, it's obviously Eddie Kingston, and no bones about the fact that we're biased in our opinions where we come from, being NWA fans primarily. But you got to look at the trajectory. Like, for me, Darby Allin would have been a breakout star in 2019 when AEW first launched, and I know it was later in the year, but I think he had already established himself and. He spent a lot of 2020, riding high and being over.
To be fair, in the chat, he is the popular answer right now. I'm seeing that.
Oh yeah, well, for sure. And that's justifiable. I sometimes get lost in the numbers. So if we're talking about 2020, I feel like on January 1st, 2020, Darby Allin had already broken out and he's been over since then. So that's part of it for me. But when you look at accolades, matches, promos, and everything, you got to say Eddie Kingston because he came in, had that incredible match with Cody, and he's had world title matches. That's a guy that made his debut and got to almost to the top of the mountain within a few months. Like if that's not a breakout, I don't know what is. So for me, that's a no-brainer. And there's obvious arguments for everyone else on that list, but that would be my opinion.
I was literally sitting here thinking to myself, just the fact that you have those four, and in the chat, Rob mentioned Ricky Starks, which I think could have been a great possibility, or at least should have been a candidate. Also seeing Sammy Guevara mentioned in the chat, and I don't know if those guys have had high profile enough matches. The names that you mentioned, Orange Cassidy had a feud with Chris Jericho. Darby Allin's feuded with Cody, and what we just mentioned, Kingston had a feud with Moxley when he was world champ, and so I think Ricky had his match with John
Cody.
Silver.
Well, John Silver has gotten himself over on for everything from YouTube to in the ring to all that stuff. So, but when we're talking about matches and stuff like that, that's a different conversation.
Yeah. I'm just thinking where I was going with that is that just the fact that you have those four and even could potentially throw in a Guevara or Starks or something like that. It's like if the name of the game is building young superstars, building the next generation of popular like top guys, that's got to tell you AEW is doing something right? Like those guys that were just out there and they brought in and are now like household names, it feels like. So
yeah.
The next category is the same, but obviously for females. So who is the breakout female? Now we're going to get a lot of pushback. Ryan, I see you out there. Rob, she's not here. So it's Hikaru Shida, Anna Jay, Ty Conti, Big Swole, or Penelope Ford? For me, I'll just go first. Will's gone.
I'm going to boycott this.
If those are your options, and I've already expressed my love for Anna Jay and Ty Conti, I think the obvious answer has to be Hikaru Shida out of those nominees. But go ahead, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If that's my choices, if there's no write-in, then yeah. Hikaru
You mean
Shida.
to tell me? You mean to tell me?
Here we go. I'm gonna go on mute so I don't.
That there is no Britt Baker, there's no Thunder Rosa, that there's no Lindsay Snow, there's no Red Velvet, that there's no. Is that what you're trying to tell me? That none of those ladies made that list?
That's what Gary's trying to tell us, and then he split. He just dropped this one on us, and then he's like, "I'm going to the bathroom and letting you guys deal with this." Obviously, they are nominating people who are signed to AEW, right? So that's why you don't see. Yeah. But was Serena Deeb not on that list?
Serena Deeb is signed. She holds the NWA World Championship. She holds the Burke. Thunder Rosa may not be signed, and Lindsay Snow may not be signed, but I know for a fact that Britt Baker is signed, and I think even though Hikaru Shida holds the belt, you're talking about a breakout star. Britt Baker is the coolest. She's the coolest thing going, man. I mean, she is the most entertaining, most compelling. I think people. I think that Hikaru Shida, people like to watch Hikaru Shida, and they definitely respect her. But I think people tune in to see Britt Baker, and so
there's always different connotations when you talk about breakout star. And you can overthink it, I think. But I mean, to me, you got to look at Serena Deeb and say she came in, made a name for herself, obtained, the greatest female wrestling prize that's out there, and has, gotten over and is on top of the world essentially. So like, how would she not be on that list?
So I can still hear you. Thanks to the glory of these lovely earbuds that my wife got me for Christmas. Shout out, Jennifer. But
that's what's up. That's what's up, Jim.
I agree with you guys.
She got me some too.
On those names.
You're not special.
My argument would be, why aren't those names all on the list? Hikaru Shida, I think, is a pretty solid answer to like who should win it. She's been champion for a while. Like she broke out, won the championship, has been doing really, really well. As much as I love Anna Jay and Ty Conti, they're still predominantly on Dark right now. They're not, featured heavily on Dynamite as much. Big Swole, same. Like you don't see her as much. And Penelope Ford, primarily, you see her every once in a while on Dark, but she's generally a valet right now for Kip Sabian, so it doesn't feel like as, and that's not knocking any of them. It's just like those names, like Serena Deeb, Britt Baker, they're prominently featured acts that that I could see them. They should be on the list, that sort of thing. But Hikaru Shida, I would still give the rub to just for the amount of matches, just how much she's doing for the brand right now, but
she no disrespect to Hikaru Shida at all. I've been on here on record singing the praises of Hikaru Shida as one of the greatest women's workers right now in the world, but she's not a 5-tool athlete. She lacks mic skills, and that's part of the language barrier. Whereas you look at a Thunder Rosa or a Britt Baker, they have it all. They can work in the ring. They can headline a show. And they've got that gift of gab, and I just don't see this, and it's, I don't want to. I just feel very strongly that whoever wins this, if this is going to be your award that you're going to recognize your best female talent, and you need to consider all the tools, because you look at that men's breakout list, 5-tool athletes, all of them. And it's not Hikaru Shida's fault that she's lacking that fit tool. Part of that's just a cultural thing, and she's not fluent in English and all that. But if this were judged strictly on in-ring merit, that might be the case, and maybe that's what they're looking at. But to me, that argument kind of falls a little flat because I think Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa are both comparable to her in that regard, and it just seems really suspect that those names aren't on there, or just ill thought out, like not very well. It's not a very well composed list. There are names on there, you fine, give Hikaru Shida, recognize her, and give her the award. But there are names on that should not be on there. Names on there that should, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I think we could all agree that Thunder Rosa is not there because she is not a signed AEW talent. Otherwise, there would be no discussion to have about this list.
Well, but you can have a signed AEW talent hold the NWA belt, and I don't know that maybe that's probably that might be their rationale, but it's just seems kind of like a flimsy list there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of names left off there. I don't quite get where they're pulling from either. Biggest beatdown. Inner Circle jumps Orange Cassidy. Dark Order attacks the Nightmare Family. Nyla Rose puts Riho and Shida through tables. Brian Cage sneak attacks Moxley. The Nightmare Family and Inner Circle brawl. I don't know that any of those honestly stand out to me, to be honest with you.
Gosh, man. Obviously, what about the repeated Inner Circle beatdowns of Moxley?
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Come on, AEW.
Yeah, that was. Wait, when was that? When was Bash at the Beach? Wasn't that?
I'm gonna tell you this: we covered it, so I know it had to be in 2020.
Yeah. They took his eye out, man.
That's true.
Took the man's eye out, bruh.
You gonna compare another beatdown to taking a man's eye out
Man
and then
had
he
a
was faking the
patch.
whole time? Yeah, he had a patch. He was faking the whole time, but he had a patch. You got to
There's
factor
not
that
been a
in.
more egregious attack on an eyeball since Tim Storm took 2% of Josephus's vision.
That's true.
Rey Mysterio's eyeball, his ping pong eyeball popped out.
Oh, that's true too.
A lot of eye
Like
stuff
that.
this year. What's up with that?
I don't know. It's very weird.
Let's lay off the eye
Attacks on
stuff.
Moxley by the Inner Circle were a high-anus, man.
Listen,
Did you say hiatus?
That was a high-anus attack on
God. Yeah, let's take 2021 off. We're gonna leave eyeballs out for at least 1 year. That's my plea.
I'm all for that. I hate eyeball violets, even in.
Gary hates eye stuff.
Yeah,
He don't mess around with eye stuff.
No,
High Flyer Award.
He even has an iPhone and he just calls it phone. I got a phone bill. He didn't even call it the iPhone.
Rob.
That's a good one, Rob.
That was good.
That's
buddy.
a good one. Joke of the year. Joke of the year.
Let's see. High Flyer Award. Is it Ray Phoenix, Mark Quinn, Nick Jackson, or Pac? Pac. I mean, I'm just going Pac.
High Flyer
I don't
Award?
even. Yeah, see, that's my thing too. Is I'm like, why is that feels like a
Nick
weird.
Jackson. Nick
But
Jackson.
surely there's others I'm not thinking of. What?
Omega? Is he? Did you say Omega's name?
No, I did not.
He's a high flyer. You got every single one of the little guys in Lucha Express. You got, were they on there?
That's not a thing.
You're talking about Jurassic Express?
Yeah, Jurassic
Or Lucha
Express.
Bros.
Excuse me. Yeah. The Lucha Bros too, yeah.
You're just combining everyone.
Well, Ray Phoenix from the Lucha Bros is in there.
With that list, I would go Phoenix if that's my only choices. But yeah, I mean, was Jungle Boy on there?
No.
I guess they don't. I guess
Marco
maybe
Stunt wasn't on there?
Oh,
No, Marco
oh
Stunt.
shit!
Oh man. James Lawrence says the whole AEW roster. That's all they do is flip and flop.
Well, they got a lot of flippers, but they also got a lot of non-flippers, and that's my quote.
All right. What was the hardest moment to clean up
That on a
afterwards?
shirt.
We gotta get through this list. We got other stuff to talk about, I'm sure. Hardest.
Do we?
Yeah. Hardest moment to clean up after.
Hold on. I bet you anything they leave out the whole orange juice match.
Next category. Hardest moment to clean up after. Was it Orange Cassidy drops orange juice on the inner circle?
Well, it would have been in keeping with the theme to leave that out.
The parking lot brawl, the bunkhouse match, or Big Swole dumps garbage on Dr. Britt Baker? It's going to be Orange Cassidy, right?
It's got to be Orange Cassidy. Yeah. I kind of remember those other ones, but
yeah. Biggest WTF moment. Cody Rhodes steel cage moonsault.
Oh.
I don't even remember that.
I do.
Yeah.
That was in Atlanta. Wait, we're what?
You must have been Whiskey Gary that night because that was I think
it is coming back.
That was pre-pandemic in front of a crowd in Atlanta.
I do remember that now that you say that because I thought he was going to kill himself. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara hit by a golf cart. Kenny Omega wins AEW World Championship and walks out of AEW. So he's getting thrown in there, not with the surprise, but with the WTF moment. Bloody Dr. Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida. Young Bucks frog splash off the stadium railing. That was in that Stadium Stampede. I remember that. That's a.
Yeah, Kenny Omega, hands down. If you're talking about a WTF moment, those other ones were big, like wressling moments where I was like, "Oh man, what a move! Wow. Like what a spot!" Like if you're talking like a spot of the year. But
if you're talking about WTF like the out of nowhere,
WTF moment of the year is like, what the hell's where's Omega going with Callis? What just happened? What did I just see? What Impact Wrestling? Oh my god, my brain started melting. And I was like, I was like having a seizure. I was so like,
I've seen it.
You saw it?
I saw the seizure. Yeah.
Ricky Freezer wants Matt Hardy in the pool, switching gimmicks every time he drowns and dies.
See, Will's so chill that his seizures are real. Like you got to be like, look, he just had one, just a little eye twitch.
Yeah, but it's a little seizure.
This one feels pretty good.
I have pizza. I always have little seizures when I have pizza.
That was good.
LOL.
That was good.
LOL award.
I'm going. I think Cody. I'm going. Omega's. I think you're right, Will. I think I like the rationale of being more than just a spot, being a sort of a landscape, story altering moment, and definitely I'm gonna go with Will on that.
All right. LOL award.
What'd you pick? You not
me?
Yes.
I'd go Omega. Yeah, just for the WTF moment. Yeah.
You better agree with us, or we'll beat you up.
I don't know how it would be that. That was the most out of nowhere. Just like surprise would be Sting. It's like both those things are things that just I did not see coming. Like I was just like, wait, where are we going with this? LOL award is Jericho and MJF, Le Dinner Debonair. Britt Baker.
I love that.
Britt Baker waxes Tony Schiavone. Young Bucks kick MJF into a pool. Or the Inner Circle Vegas trip. Rob laughed at none of these things.
Yeah,
I'm going Britt Baker, man. I'm going Britt Baker. I think anything she touches is gold, man.
I'm gonna call BS on the Young Bucks kick MJF into the pool. That's just to get the Young Bucks on the list. I think that was not an LOL moment. I think the Vegas trip, man, for me, Rob's gonna disagree with me. I know how Rob feels about this, but that Vegas trip montage was well done. I giggled through that. So
I giggled there too, but I think Le Dinner Debonair. That's me. I like that moment. That was great. You're a fan of musicals. You should love that.
It was a horrible musical.
I would never pay to see that.
Best Twitter follow. So you guys in the chat, you follow some of these folks on Twitter, I'm sure. I don't follow all of them, honestly. But who's the best AEW star to follow on Twitter? Is it MJF, Orange Cassidy, Dr. Britt Baker, or Nyla Rose? What are those?
And another snub, man. What about Jericho? And the Jericho, the Judas Challenge, which dominated Twitter this year. And YouTube and all that they're going to snub him. But of those, I'm going to say Britt Baker. She's funny as a mug. MJF, you can't comment on nothing because all he does is tear you down, man. Just beat you up and attack your self-esteem and whatnot.
So I'm going to tell you,
like a heel.
I'm going to tell you something that I thought was heelish, but also made me LOL. And Rob's going to hate me for this, but we're just going to get it out right now because he's going to win it for me as MJF. And even after,
don't say it. I know where you're going, bruh. We already talked about this.
When even after that, even after that one show when he was like F that kid, I was like, oh my god. Just even after, when he got hit with the kendo stick in the head after stealing Negative One's mask, and he just immediately tweeted after that match, F that kid. I was like, good lord. Anyway, Rob don't like that. Will, your turn.
Nice.
Ease the tension in the room.
I don't follow a ton of wrestlers on Twitter because typically, maybe not the ones on the list you mentioned, but it's a lot of like retweeting their fans and stuff, which is cool. But like, it doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I want to hear from them. So if I do follow them, I'll turn off the retweets or something like that. But honestly, I don't have enough to make a judgment. I've seen some stuff to your point that Jericho's done on Twitter that I thought was really clever as a heel, kind of carrying over the persona over to social media. But I mean, probably the most active person that I do follow, to Rob's point, is Chris Jericho. So him not being on that list, and I just keep following him because he keeps putting out quality stuff that I like, talking about wrestling and rock and roll music. So,
I don't want to start anything. I see that in the chat. Lots of people loving Jericho. I feel like he's controversial sometimes, and maybe that's why they left him off.
I mean, that's what social media is for.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just saying maybe that's why they.
In what way do you say? Just as a curiosity, how do you find him controversial?
Here we go, Gary. I'll moderate. Gary, you have 30 seconds. 30 seconds to the gentleman from South Carolina. Go.
I just mean Chris Jericho is a controversial figure in wrestling just because of the people that he has on his show sometimes. And I'm not, and me, I'm not saying this is even me having such a problem with him, but just his stances on certain issues and that sort of thing get people riled up and that sort of thing. So he rubs people wrong sometimes, I think. And so I wonder if that's not why they stepped around it. Because I agree. I think his Twitter's entertaining. He does. This is like, listen, I'll say this on record right here on the show. I think Jim Cornette's Twitter is entertaining. And so, but some people will write it down. Some people disagree. So, some people are very put off by it. So that's what I'm saying. And,
Rob, 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, that's like your opinion, dude.
Oh, well, that's one. One for Rob. One for Rob. Check.
I'm just saying. It's not like us arguing with each other. I don't have a problem.
Mic drop. That's a mic drop.
I'm just saying it's factual. Anyway.
Is it because he has long hair, Gary? You don't like guys with long hair? Is that what it is?
They're still like fat guys.
It's controversial.
Obviously.
Okay, then bye.
I mean, clearly that's not the case unless I just hate myself. And I don't. All right, well, it's just me now. So thanks everybody for joining us. It's just can we get Rob back in here, please? Good Lord.
I think there
Sorry,
he is.
I was giving Petra a night kiss. My bad.
Oh, that's sweet.
God,
Way
that's
to
so
cover up
awesome.
the daddy moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scratch out all the nasty stuff I wrote about you on the record.
No, listen, Ricky
right.
Freezer, I see you in there. Love him or hate him. He's the last for die breed. I don't get offended that easily. So I just don't. And so that stuff's never the thing for me. Like I'm just like, especially with wrestling, I'm like, you gotta do what you gotta do to break the barrier or to put up the wall. I didn't even do that.
Yes.
Wow.
Got another one. Got another one.
Rob.
Yeah.
Rob is the man today. He is
Taking notes. I'm taking notes for the
hug this dude. He's
this is Pro Wrestling Awards. That we're gonna do.
Rob just like coming in like just strong, and he was like, I don't know if I got 2020 most funniest, but 2021, that's me.
In the bag. You're the front runner right now. Right behind me.
All right. Last one. Bleacher Report's pay-per-view moment of the year. Was it Stadium Stampede? Moxley wins the AEW Championship. Shida wins the AEW Women's Championship. Omega and Page defeat the Young Bucks. Darby Allin wins the TNT title from Cody. The Young Bucks win the AEW Tag Team titles. What was the pay-per-view moment of the year?
Man.
I'm going to throw you a weird one. I'm just going to say, for me, Omega Page defeat the Young Bucks. I didn't guess that one. So I think for me, that one stands out. And I thought that match was good. I thought it was, honestly, between all of us here, I thought that match was better than Young Bucks beating FTR. Honestly, I did. I thought that match was really good. But and that's no knock on FTR. I think FTR is like possibly the greatest tag team out there right now. But something about that match didn't work as well as I thought Omega and Page and the Young Bucks worked. But maybe that's because they're the elite guys and all of that stuff. But anyway.
Well, that one is the one that I lean towards because I too really enjoyed that match. I think we talked about it and we covered it. Some people thought it didn't live up to the hype. I personally loved it, but for me, it's going to come down to the moment where Moxley wins the title because that was the first title change.
Okay,
in AEW history.
That was my thinking. I was running neck and neck.
The first world title change. The other titles had changed hands several times. But that was the first, Jericho had been the only world champ in the promotion. And so, it was one of those things where he had been champ for, a good while. And I think I wasn't sure that Moxley was going to win it. So it wasn't a foregone conclusion. I think some of those other ones, like, when Shida won, I think I like 75% expected it. So it just wasn't as big of a moment. But when Mox won, I was still kind of 50-50. Like, I wanted him to win it, but I didn't know if they were going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. So I would probably vote for that one.
Yeah, I agree. That's it. That's the moment. And you're talking about it involved everything that Will just said. I mean, it's the first important world championship transition in the company's history. So that's got to be it. I did want to point out, I got slightly distracted. PWI, speaking of social media, PWI just tweeted out the cover of the 2020 Year in Review Awards, and Orange Cassidy, has made the cover, and he evidently has won the most popular wrestler of the year. He's got the trophy, and he's holding it upside down in true Orange Cassidy fashion. But, we have a stake in this because we've been campaigning heavily for Thunder Rosa to win Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. And I think I even submitted some unofficial official awards that I'm hoping make it into the issue. So that is the April 2021 issue. Normally, you could probably, I think, see this on newsstands here in about 2 weeks. And I would expect here in the next couple of days us to be able to get an idea of who won those awards. So that's some exciting news. Just wanted to put that out real quick because that we've not been talking about that today.
I'm going to hook our viewers up with it here in just a second. I got the
and I know a lot of people like ho and hum about the 500 and the achievement awards, but I'm gonna tell you what, every wrestler cares about it. They all think it's a big deal. And
everybody likes to talk crap, but they want to end up there.
Yeah. And Nick Aldis has been the most straightforward about it. He has had nothing but good to say about PWI. And he said, even though I think that they've always rated him low, just like they've done Thunder Rosa, he's always very gracious, to them and very appreciative when they recognize his hard work and most of them are. So that's pretty cool, man. Orange Cassidy, most popular wrestler of the year. And that's a neat cover, and I can't wait to get that issue.
It's interesting, man. I've been telling some of my friends that are wrestling fans, I mean, like, you can love it or hate it, Orange Cassidy is here to stay. Orange Cassidy is doing all right. And the kids, especially, like the next generation of wrestling fans, freaking love that guy. Like, he's their dude. I mean, it just is. I'm just happy personally. I know I'll get hate from like James Lawrence and stuff like that, but I feel like they've done a pretty decent job of taking a guy whose indie joke persona has become like a competitor's persona. Like he's more believable. But anyway, also worth pointing out, did somebody say Hammerstone interview? Because I didn't see that on the thing.
Probably on MLW right now.
Oh, on MLW. Come on, Rock says. Don't be throwing that out there at me now. I got show to do.
You see Gary just runs out of the room.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on Sunday or Saturday. Maybe Rob will be here. Probably not. But
let's mark some news and see if you guys have something else you want to talk about. With Impact Wrestling, we got starting at Hard to Kill this Saturday. Matt Stryker will be Impact's new play-by-play announcer. D'Lo Brown will be on color. Stryker and Brown will also call episodes of Impact weekly going forward. Josh Matthews and Madison Rain have been Impact's commentary team, but they announced that Matthews has been promoted to senior producer for their programming. He also signed a new multi-year contract with Impact Wrestling. Rain will discuss her wrestling future at Hard to Kill. It was reported last month that Rain is leaving Impact Wrestling for a career outside of wrestling. So, new commentary team on Impact Wrestling. Any thoughts there, fellas?
I'm about it. No shade on any of those guys, but I wasn't really blown away by commentary on the stuff that I've watched. So I think it's a good move. Try to beef it up a little bit and throw some change in there. So Matt Stryker and D'Lo obviously are great. So it'd be interesting to see how they fit in with Impact and how that changes kind of the feel of the show.
I heard he wasn't popular on New Japan, and I never saw him on New Japan. I enjoyed him in WWE TV when I saw him. I thought he was intelligent about what he spoke about. So I'm interested to see it. I saw you bring this up in the Discord, which you folks can join if you haven't already. It's our pinned tweet over at TIPW Show. But anyway, we'd love to have you in that chat. But Will, you had mentioned this earlier, and I agree. I'm up for anything Impact does to swap things up a little bit, like just try to change things around. Let's still experiment, because I think they got the talent there. They just gotta something's not clicking quite yet for Impact for me all the way. I love the wrestlers that are there. There's a lot of good ones, but something's missing, and I don't know what it is with Impact. That's just my opinion. More up Will's alley. WWE has revealed the full list of teams that are going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Now, there's a team on here you'll see that is MSK. They haven't revealed who that was. Now, they did announce last month that the Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, have signed with the company and joined the Performance Center. They'll either be MSK or they won't be. Thanks for that news, Russell Zone. The first round of the Dusty Classic kicks off on NXT tonight. The Undisputed Era is Adam Cole and Roderick Strong versus Breezango, Everrise versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, and MSK versus Atlas and Scott. First round matches will take place on NXT, and for some reason, 205 Live, which I got to be honest, until all of this, did not realize 205 Live was still a show that existed. So there you have that. Over here on the left side of the bracket, you'll see Undisputed Era. That's Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Tony Nese and Arya Daivari versus Ashante V. Adonis and Desmond Troy. Kushida and Leon Ruff versus NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. Everrise versus that's Chase Parker and Matt Martell, and the Grizzly Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake. Over on the right side of the bracket, you'll see MSK versus Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas, Killian Dane and Drake Maverick versus the Lucha House Party, Graham Metalik and Lindsay Dorado, and Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde versus the Bollywood Boys, Samir and Sunil Singh. The team that wins the Dusty Rhodes Classic will get a Dusty Cup and the Dusty Cup, not like a.
There's a Dusty Cup for you.
And a shot at Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch's NXT Tag Team titles. It's worth mentioning WWE's also mentioned that they're going to have their first ever women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic that'll be held soon as well. But there's the brackets. They're finally out. I just like looking at brackets, to be honest with you. So there they are. Also worth noting, NXT starting tonight is going to have the first ever virtual fans on hand. They haven't been doing that. That's been normally like SmackDown and Raw, and tonight they're gonna be having it. So that's gonna be happening. Here's a little preview of NXT. I got you a picture there as well. Look at that. This is tonight. You got Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic first round match, Everrise and the Grizzly Young Veterans, plus Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas versus MSK. That's not listed there. And of course, the Roderick Strong and Breezango match and non-title match, NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano with Austin Theory will be facing Dexter Lumis. So, you can't say this all the time for WWE, so I want to give props where props are due. NXT has a lineup presented to you early, and so you know what to expect. I like knowing what to expect on a wrestling show, so there's NXT.
They had to wake up their graphic designer who normally doesn't have to create those graphics, and they're like, hey, we got something. He was like, what? Oh, you got matches? Oh, okay, let me make these. So it's good for him.
Other WWE news, if I could throw this in there real quick, is that they've partnered with A&E, and they're going to be producing some like documentaries for the network that are produced solely by A&E, based on WWE stars. And I thought that sounded kind of cool. As long as they're not like weirdly slanted or something, I think it could be interesting. And they don't seem to be. I looked this up just to see if he wasn't talking crap, because Dave Meltzer was who I saw this from, and he's done a few of the interviews. He said he has more. He was used for interviews, and they even went and got Jim Ross for interviews, who obviously is employed by AEW. So very strange. They're just like reaching out to everybody. They're trying to seemingly make legit documentaries, even if the people aren't employed by them. And so, fingers crossed. But also, I'd like to point out for all you Meltzer haters, they went to Dave Meltzer, who everybody says is full of crap. But WWE also, besides saying he's full of crap, he's also a historian that they use for their documentaries.
That's 1 point for Gary and Meltzer.
And Meltzer.
All right.
But Meltzer on his podcast did say, Brian Alvarez brought up that very same thing about like, is this slanted? Do you feel like it's weird? He's like, I don't know. I don't know what the finished product looks like. I can tell you this. I was very impressed with the intelligent questions that were asked of me by the people. Like, they seemed really well researched in all of the history that they were trying to cover in these documentaries. So he was like, I was kind of blown away by the questions I was getting asked. So we'll see.
Well, yeah,
we'll see.
It's hopeful. So, I'm with you, man. It's hopeful. We'll see what happens. We got
I'm just intentionally not crapping on it before it comes out. So
yeah,
that's why I don't have anything to say.
Let's see here. What is Pat McAfee? I see all this. The only stuff I've heard about Pat McAfee is that they just didn't want to rely on him so much on TV that he'd probably be back eventually. But
he'll be back. I think his feud ran its course and had a blow off, and he'll be back when the time's right. But he's not a full-time contracted guy. So
yeah. I don't think anybody Front Row's covered that in the chat, but yeah, I everything I've ever read or heard about it was that everybody loves Pat McAfee and they were happy working with him. And it was just that he probably cost money. And then they were just kind of like, he's done his job up until this point, until it comes time to need him again, then we'll use him sparingly. And so I don't think he's done. I think we'll see him again. Sorry that for the listeners, that was coming up in the chat. Pat McAfee. There's a story reported that AEW is going to be moving locations of TV to Miami in February. That actually came out a little bit ago, but I don't think we've ever talked about that. But according to the Observer, back to Meltzer, he says, while that could happen and absolutely has been talked about, it had not been decided as of my last checking. I think the idea is that Miami is much warmer, and some of these winter shows in Jacksonville have been in cold weather, and it's very hard to sell tickets in Jacksonville because they run there so often. So they've considered switching it up. So that's the news on the Miami thing that's been bouncing around. The only thing I could find on it, basically.
I think that'd be cool. I think, I get that about the weather situation. And I think they were looking at indoor places in Miami. And I think that'd be smart. I mean, if you live in and around Jacksonville and you wanted to go to AEW, you've probably gone once or twice already. So I feel like their availability is probably run its course there, and so it's probably a good move all around to change it up.
Yep, I agree. Does anybody else love Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, though? By the way, they are a badass tag team. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. We were just talking about them earlier, and I just thought about it. Thanks, Will. Go ahead and write me down there. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, here. Let's see. How about this? I didn't upload this before, but Roxa79 brought it up. So screw it. Look at that, Rob. I know you love these picks. According to What Culture, Lita told a grim story during a Twitch live stream on her official channel yesterday, revealing that WWE threatened to fire her if she said no to her and Edge's infamous live sex celebration segment, which was our 15 years celebration on Sunday. We spent a whole show just discussing this. It's not true. The WWE Hall of Famer claimed that while herself, Edge, John Cena, and other WWE crew members protested the segment, Vince McMahon was into the idea and decided to run with it anyway. Lita told the company, understandably, that she was uncomfortable performing such acts on television. That's when they threatened to let her go if she refused. The ordeal contributed towards Lita's decision to leave the company later that year, and WWE's decision to bury her on the way out. She worked a retirement bout at Survivor Series 2006, dropping the Women's Championship to Mickie James, with Crime Time auctioning off her belongings in a wholesale afterwards. Edge and Lita's live sex celebration went down on the 9th of January, 2006 episode of Raw. The demeaning angle had both wrestlers stripping down before diving beneath the sheets, with Ric Flair interrupting the apparent intention of showing Edge how it's done. One of the WWE's crassiest and most demeaning post-attitude segments. It came after WWE had already decided to cast negativity on Lita for her alleged promiscuity with the trailblazing star, subjected to gross insults weekly. So we're playing around with it here, but that sounds terrible if that's true. I guess I don't.
That doesn't sound like WWE.
No, I don't think they would ever do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to something positive.
I think our attitudes right there says everything you need to know on if you doubted.
That's uncomfortable, and I hope that those days are long gone for WWE.
Yeah, let's hope so. And don't worry, Front Row. I will not post that pic in the Discord.
Because he's going to put you in timeout if you do.
I know Front Row almost banned me from the Discord today.
You got your own doggone, your own guidelines, man. We said that we set up in ours, man.
PG-13. The kid just said ass. Like, I don't know. That's PG-13. You get one F in the PG-13 rules. It's just not in a sexual connotation. I hope you know that. That's the truth. That's how weird censorship works. You could use one F-bomb, but it can't be sexually. That's how PG-13 is.
So what if you were to say, like, go F yourself, but not meaning it? Think about that.
I think you could probably try to.
For Rob. Mark me up.
I think you can work around it. Yeah. He said, I deleted his X-rated post. Oh, maybe he did something I didn't know. I don't know. The kid, not Gary. Yeah, let's be clear. I didn't post anything X-rated. I don't know what that kid did. So anyway,
that's because our moderators, like Front Row, are on top of it.
That's why we made Front Row a moderator, because we know what that guy does. I mean, in a good way. Like, he does good stuff. He's a good moderator. Anyway, all right. I don't have any more big news except to tell you that on Impact tonight, that's NXT. On Impact tonight, that's MLW. On Impact tonight, you got
Impact. Oh, Impact's on tonight?
No, gosh, why? On Dynamite tonight. Oh man,
I'm gonna write this. I'm writing this down.
Hey, they got waiting room on Dynamite.
Yeah. That's smart. Because it's Cody.
Rob, because of Front Row or not Front. What is wrong with me? Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker were supposed to take on each other on night 2 of New Year's Smash, but Thunder Rosa has been pulled from the show due to being exposed to COVID, supposedly. So Britt Baker's doing the waiting room, and we're getting a Serena D versus Ty Conti NWA Women's World Championship match. That's what's happening instead. Those two things. Cody Rhodes is going to be on the waiting room for the first time ever. The waiting room is on Dynamite. You're also getting Chuck Taylor taking on Miro, where if Chuck loses, Chuck has to be his butler or his young boy, I guess is the way they put it last week. But if you're not in New Japan, that sounds like a weird thing to say. You got Pac versus Eddie Kingston. That's going to be fun. I bet that's going to be badass, actually, to be honest with you. And you got, what are the Inner Circle's New Year's resolutions? And you got Jurassic Express versus FTR, but not like Jurassic Express, like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. It's Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. So they're going to get their ass whooped. So that's what's going to happen in that match.
Yeah.
And the Elite is in 6-man action. I assume by the Elite, they mean Omega and the Good Brothers is what my guess would be. But I don't think they've specified.
I think if that's not it, then that's a ploy to get you to watch, to assume that. But
yeah. And of course, Darby Allin is going to be defending the TNT Championship against Brian Cage. That you know what's interesting about this to me that I think just is fun is just with Cody carrying that TNT title, and even right here, like in bigger print, I know listeners can't see this, but bigger print in the center of the page is Darby Allin and Brian Cage's match above all else. Even the world champion Kenny Omega is over on the left side because he's going to be just teaming with the Elite. I don't think it's taken away from Kenny Omega, but it's also making the TNT title feel like a big deal. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an actual title match. I mean, Kenny Omega's not defending, so he's going to be in a 6-man match. So that's he's going to be a fixture because he's the world champ. But in terms of matches on the card, that TNT title is the highest, caliber match on the card.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense from a prize fight perspective.
Well, it's just that I don't feel like that's the same thing you'd see from WWE. Like if the Intercontinental title was on the line and there was no world title match, like I don't feel like they'd just be like, oh, well, the Intercontinental title is obviously the main event of the show. I don't think they would do that. And so
they might. I don't know.
We'll see. All right. Sorry, Brian. He said, no, that's Turbo. Not supposedly. That's why Thunder Rosa was pulled. Listen to What a Day, Joe. I don't know what that means, Ryan, but I feel like you're just like trying to fight me, and I don't.
It's a podcast, and he's referring to the fact that you tried to be real slick journalistic, and you tried to say that Thunder Rosa supposedly.
Yeah, I caught the snarky
content.
Yeah,
use it.
I think Ryan Romano is justified.
Bro, I said supposedly because I didn't know for sure.
But you didn't have to roll your eyes when you did it. You didn't have to roll your eyes when you did it.
I roll my eyes.
That's just how your eyes look.
I don't appreciate you guys. I don't appreciate Ryan Romano trying to fight me because I'm very scared and it makes me nervous. I've wet myself like I have like a wet spot on the front of my shorts, and it's because Ryan Romano's threatening me. And I don't need that Ryan gave that in my life.
Right back. Look at Ryan's comment. He said, and I can tell you exactly how it's supposed to be read. No, Gary, I would never want to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know why I said that? Like, I wouldn't want to hurt you, Gary. I wouldn't want to hurt you. And he's like, and so I appreciate that you're. He says, I ain't looking for a butt whooping. You see that in the chat? I ain't looking for a butt whooping. Like, he's not looking to whip somebody's butt. I get it.
Right.
I get it, Ryan. I get it. You know,
man, you got to see this guy person. He walks in, he commands respect. I seen it with my own eyes. We had seats right together on the front row there at Tournament Out of Hell. And some guy had kids with him and everything. Sat down, accidentally sat in Ryan's seat. Ryan came over, glanced at him. A chill filled the air, bro. A chill filled the air. The man got up, was like, "So sorry, sir. So sorry, sir. So sorry."
And nobody has seen that man since.
Yes.
No, that's what Rob told me that story the same night. The same night of MLW, and I had nightmares for a week. So I ain't trying to mess with you, Ryan. So you don't have to be so mean. I'm sorry that I did not know about that. We wish Thunder Rosa well. She doesn't come down with COVID. I would not want that for her. And it's not supposedly. Thunder Rosa was in contact with someone with COVID. You heard it here.
Supposedly.
Right. Turbo, welcome to the chat, buddy. It's good to see Turbo in the chat. Turbo texted me earlier this week and said, I always watch the show. Sometimes I just like to throw it on and I don't like chat in the chat. But he said, I'm always watching, listening, and learning. And it was very creepy. Thank you, Turbo, for being here.
Say it like that? Oh, it is creepy.
I mean, he did it by text, so you can kind of take. It's just like in the chat, you can take anything anybody says and like however you want. Like Ricky Freezer over here, just like if it loves the key. That's how I assume he said it.
He cleaned it up later, though. Correction, guys. I just enjoy Zicky. Sorry about that. There's my one. There's my one.
Gentlemen, I just enjoy Zicky.
We should do. Yeah, we should just start doing. We should start doing a segment during Falls Count Anywhere where we read comments like in the perceived tone. So if you're active in our chat, maybe we'll read your comment in a creepy tone. I don't know. That doesn't sound like it would sell. I'm marking that off the list. All right, I'm just trying new things. Listen, I'm in marketing. I'm just trying to blaze some new trails here.
Oh man. Anyway, we have fun.
Whew.
Man, we covered all the news. What else is there to talk about? I saw Rock says try to throw in some MLW spoilers. I don't know what he was going to say.
I'd seen on Twitter where our friend and beloved NWA #NWA fan member Sanseval had just for giggles opened up a Parler account, and I'm like, dang, bro, that was quick. The moment you joined, man, it's like they shut that junk down. What? What were you doing?
Oh man.
Let's see here. Yeah, nothing exciting news wise. You guys ready for Dynamite? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
Tell us in the chat as we wind down here. Tell us what you're looking forward to most. Is it Darby Allin and Brian Cage? Are you looking forward to Gargano versus Dexter Lumis? What's on your mind? Are you ready to start the Dusty Classic? I'm excited. I like the Dusty Classic. I mean, every time I've paid attention to it, it's been a lot of fun. We like those tag team stuff.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to.
What
is this very helpful comment, because I am excited to go watch MLW because we're obviously not watching it live right now, but apparently the tag match is a good one because Dave Scooby is a man that I trust his opinion. So that makes me excited for that.
Yeah, Dave Scooby knows what he's talking about. He knows what you like. Dave Scooby always looking out for people. If you guys don't follow Dave Scooby on Twitter, you should, because he's doing a great job of just like trying to keep people posted on what's going on all the time in the wrestling world, and he includes us in that. So we appreciate that. At Dave Scooby.
There are many times where I learn things first from either Dave Scooby's tweets or him in our Discord channel. So that dude is plugged into wrestling news and what's going on, breaking news. So yeah, definitely give him a follow or join our Discord and interact with him.
Chris Johnson wants to know, hey, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the chat. He's Carnivore J in the Discord, and he is asking where he watches Dynamite if he cuts the cord. Well, this is what I do, Chris. I have a father-in-law who does all the cable stuff. So I subscribe, or I use his logins to all of the networks, like the TNT app and such. So that's how I watch it. But Will,
I'm reporting you to the FBI right now.
That's the guy that back in the day would give you the code broke box.
Yeah, you had the what
unscrambler.
Chris Johnson's right though. Like I will admit that I never considered this because I just happen to have a login to the TNT app that AEW is as hard to watch as Impact. So like for him, it is difficult. If you don't have TNT, like what do you do? Will?
I'll direct message you, Chris.
Hey. You know us, law and order every time.
That's what we stand for. I was gonna say something. What were we talking about before that?
Well, let's see here. Ricky Freezer said,
I was gonna make a joke.
So damn hot.
No,
And
not
front
that
row
one.
said, I love front row. Jumped in. She's great, very talented. And Ricky Freezer says, her buns.
Is that how he said it?
That's what got a 13-year-old child eliminated today, Ricky Freezer. You better watch yourself. Front row will have your ass. Not like
stop.
Respectfully.
Just let's yeah. There's what else were we gonna talk about?
No, I thought you had somewhere to go, bud.
Oh yeah, I gotta go watch Dynamite.
Oh, well, we all have to go.
Which I pay for.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we pay for all those, man. I pay for Disney Plus, doggone Fight TV, all that stuff. Actually, I do pay for Fight TV. I think they're actually watching.
I
do pay for Fight TV. Y'all seen? Yeah, they can look up and see my account. But as far as Disney Plus and Hulu and Amazon Prime, I pay for that stuff.
Well, hey Rob, I got news for you. Even without your money, those companies are all doing just fine. So
now they really do. Over it. I wish I were that bad like you guys, but they yeah, they really do. They really do have my money. And Front Row, I was just talking about like UWM Primetime Live, man. I subscribe to all that stuff, man. When it's pay, I buy it. But I do watch the free. I do watch the free stuff too.
I just wanted to see your face, like if we just stayed really silent, like what Rob would do. All right, this is not exciting for people just listening to the podcast portion of this later on. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Chris and Front Row and Jedi Warrior, Ricky, all of you. Rock says, who else was here? Just so many of you, and we appreciate it. Ryan Romano, thank you so much for hanging out with us, buddy. And Turbo, thanks for joining up and chilling with us. You guys, I know it is time. It is time for
everybody's jumping on me about this Fight TV, man. Come on, they're like Jedi Ward's like Fight TV is an app, dude. And front row, I could see the Doc. Fight TV is free.
Ricky, are you in the U.S.? Fight TV's on a Roku. Or are you who asked somebody the other day? I said, "Get it on your Roku," and they were like, "What the hell's a Roku?" They were like in England or something.
I like this comment. Ricky's got us on his TV and Dynamite on the laptop. See, that's how.
Man, that's where your priorities. That guy's got priorities, man.
You got us and then Dynamite. Like that's how it should go.
That's what's up.
Be like Ricky.
Chris Johnson, take it up for you in the chat, Rob. So you should feel good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, Ricky Freezer, you got 2 Roku TVs. Fight is an app on there. You can watch Championship Wrestling from Hollywood every. They show up on Sundays. SWE Furies on like Thursdays.
Ring of Honor Monday nights.
Ring of Honor is Mondays at 7. You can do all of that. So
got a lot of indie stuff is on there.
Yeah, a lot more than that. I'll let you in a little secret here in the last few minutes of this. I've been talking to Fight. So they've been trying to work on pushing a bunch of different types of fight stuff. They were wondering if we'd be interested in like bare knuckle, MMA style stuff, everything. So so yeah, get you some Fight TV. They're good buddies. And but yeah, like Front Row says, tons of great free wrestling and pay-per-views. All right, you guys go watch Dynamite. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. That's at Hey It's Will. This is Dr. Stinson. At This is Gary Horde. The show is at TIPW Show on all the social medias. It's at This Is Pro Wrestling Show. Get it? At TIPW Show on everything. Come hang out in our Discord. Go to the Twitter. Hit the pinned tweet. There's a link right there, or just DM one of us. These are all our Twitter handles. This is what we are on all the social media. We'd love to have you around. If you're watching and you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe because it helps us get in front of more people. We love you guys. You guys are great. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep hanging out. We're going to be back on Saturday night, with or without Rob. We'll be back on Saturday night to watch Impact, Hard to Kill. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a blast. He's going to ditch his wife and hang out with his real bros. Bros before Tanya.
Ooh, I'm about to say, well, hold on now. Hold on now.
Anyway, we love you guys. Take care. Come follow us. Talk to us. Talk to us about Dynamite, everything else. And until next time,